It seems in 2020, every brand wants to talk about the thing, but they won't say what that thing is. NRMA is being vague.
This year continues to be a challenging one for all of us.
Why? What happened? Did something happen? Industry super wouldn't give me any clues.
That feels especially true, given what's going on.
What's going on? Tell me. Optus enlisted Alf Stewart to not clear up what's going on.
Interesting at the moment, isn't it, eh? Social distancing, isolation, all of that.
All of what, Alf? Come on, mate. There's a reason Home and Away had to change its name to just Home. Toyota only wanted to talk about spirit.
It takes spirit to get through times like these.
I know it does. My spirit was vodka. Come on, Toyota, just say it. Oh, what a feeling, Corona. And the Commonwealth Bank had 3 chances to name it. Did they? I wouldn't bank on it.
When we look back on these days, this line in the sand, this moment marked in time, let's remember what we found.
I remember. We found the coronavirus. And you found the bank? Did you not know where the bank was? There's a big sign on it that says bank. The ads wouldn't say it, but they all wanted to show it. Suddenly, every ad had empty streets and, weirdly, some random guy humming. They all had people gazing longingly out their windows, trying to spot the virus, others waving at the virus, and a massive second wave in Zoom meetings.
Zoom meetings. How weird are they?
Not very. There was also a spike in the use of one word.
Together we'll get through this.
And we can all get through this together.
Together.
After all,
we're all in this together.
Maybe if we were a little less together, we wouldn't have caught the virus. But we did find one advertiser who was brave enough to tell it how it is. And you'll never guess who.
The coronavirus has caused chaos right across the world.
Did you know prices have crashed?
Yeah, big time.
On indoor blinds, outdoor blinds, cafe blinds, roller shutters and security doors.
Stay strong, Australia. We'll beat this virus and get those prices back up. Burns for Blinds Adelaide know a big story when they see it.
Did you hear the news?
No burns for blinds. What's the news?
People are saving a fortune on their blinds.
Not what I expected, but finally, good news. Time to welcome our panel. Todd Sampson, Dee Madigan, Karen Ferry, Russell Howcroft. Now, you might notice that Russell is joining us from Melbourne on a screen tonight. We thought after all these years, the best gift we could give Russell is letting him be on TV. This year, we saw something that up until now I thought might have been an oxymoron. Necessary advertising. Here's an ad the Australian government put out at the start of March, about 100 years ago.
To help stop the spread of viruses, like the flu or coronavirus, good hygiene is essential. That starts with washing your hands thoroughly with soap and water. Whenever you cough, sneeze or blow your nose, prepare food or eat, care for someone sick, touch your face or use the toilet. Remember to cough or sneeze into your arm or a tissue. Bin the tissue and wash your hands. Together we can help stop the spread and stay healthy. Visit australia.gov.au, authorised by the Australian Government, Canberra.
Seems like the solution's been in front of us all along. Just remove people's noses and mouths and they can't spread the virus. Cartoons can't catch COVID. Karen, why did the government use animation?
So when you're trying to educate people about stuff, using visuals really works because humans are visual learners and we're like that from an early age. So from babies learning how to read their parents' faces to kids like reading picture books and kids' cartoons, even as adults we get more from an emoji than we do from a written sentence. For information recall, we get more from visuals by 400%, which is crazy. The reason why you do illustration over photography is because they're telling us so many messages, like that frame of 6 things is crazy. So if they did all through photos, we would be overwhelmed as viewers. You'd be looking at the wrong thing. You'd be like, that wallpaper is ugly, that baby walks weird. Where if it's illustration, we can then do a technique that we call reductionism, which is where we strip out elements that might distract the viewer to help focus on what's important. So you take away the background, you take away the body past the wrist, you take away the colour and the shadow, and then you're just focusing on a little dismembered hand cleaning a toilet.
I think also the other reason was that you couldn't shoot anything during COVID as well. I mean, the last thing that you'd want to do in a government ad is accidentally infect someone while making a government ad.
I really like the use of animation in government advertising, Will. And we are an unbelievably multicultural country, more than 50 different ethnic groups in Australia. And when you look at advertising, you often are looking to see if there's someone that looks just like you. Now, what happens with government advertising is you need every single person to see it, understand it and think that that could be me. This is why animation works in particular very, very well in this instance.
In cleaning ads, viruses look like tiny monsters. Queensland had these seasonally horrifying fascinators. The federal government made the virus look more like a preschooler's drawing of the sun. Barely fridge-worthy. South Australia tried this.
If you could see flu or coronavirus, you'd see how easily it spreads. Just by sneezing or coughing, you could be infecting those around you. But we can all take steps to stop the spread. Stay away from others when you're sick. Cover your coughs and sneezes. Regularly wash your hands and wipe down surfaces. Let's all help stop the spread of infectious disease.
Yucky. And it bears a striking resemblance to this flu ad from a year ago.
If you could see the flu.
She's having a bad run. Dee, does gross work?
Gross 100% works. So fear drives inaction when you want to stop someone doing something, whereas gross actually drives action. When you disgust people, you have a physical response to it. So, and the other reason why gross is particularly good in this case is we know anyone who's got kids knows how gross they are when it comes to hygiene, right? But we also know they're attracted to gross things. So you show them an ad with gross stuff on it, they're going to pay attention to it. And we know when it comes to spreading viruses, kids are particularly sort of, they're virulent little creatures.
The initial stuff in Victoria, they used almost an air raid siren. Yeah, so just think about a World War II air raid siren. They used that as sort of the initial trigger, and then you would hear the message. I thought that was incredibly effective.
In April, the government launched the COVID Safe app. The app cost about $2 million and has been downloaded 7.1 million times. About as many times as they said this.
Download the COVID Safe app.
Download the app.
Download the app.
The government also rolled out ads where actors smile as their phone tells them they've contracted the coronavirus. But the best COVID Safe ad we've seen didn't come from the government. It was this.
This isn't about patriotism. This is about pastry on your chinism. This is about tasting victory slathered in tomato sauce from behind the try line again. This is about you downloading the COVID app. And no, not so we can get back to work faster, but so we can get back to our rightful place in the stands, cheering with our mouths full of pie again. So if you want to help play Find a Way, you know what to do. Tap. Long may we play.
Please transmit responsibly. Todd, is a gambling company selling government messaging better than the government?
There is a lot to like in that ad. Strategically, I think it's a very good idea. The government didn't do it, really. Strategically, to say there is a reason to download it. Now, collective good wasn't strong enough, so they went for something even more powerful. Sport. If you want sport, download the app. So that was clever. Execution.
Screw the collective good, we want the footy back.
That's right. Yeah. Just be realistic about the message.
It's also a lot easier for a company like this to do an ad. A government ad has to appeal to a really broad section of people, so it's much harder to do. Whereas an ad like this, what you do is, OK, this is our demographic, this is what's going to motivate them. So in terms of writing the ad and coming up with an interesting idea, it is a lot easier to do that.
Victoria is currently under one of the longest, harshest lockdowns in the world. 6 weeks into stage 4, the Victorian government released a campaign as star-studded as it was heavily criticised. Let's take a closer look.
Oh, Sherry, what are you doing? I can't help it, it's my carpal tunnel. I am subbing you off. I tell you what, I am so over this lockdown. Playing netball against yourself is not all it's cracked up to be, especially when you still can't even win. But you know what? It's not the lockdown that's the enemy, it's the virus. And the sooner we obey the rules, the sooner this will all be over and we can get back to the stuff that really matters. Nettie. Subbing myself back in now. Oh no, Sharon, you're hopeless. I am not hopeless. I'm the most valued member of this team.
Authorised by the Victorian Government, Melbourne.
That just made me want Uber Eats. Tonight, I'll be contracting. This bit jumped out at me.
And the sooner we obey the rules, the sooner this will all be over and we can get back to the stuff that really matters.
Russell, is it a bit heavy-handed to use the language obey the rules?
It depends whose mouth it's coming out of, and I don't think it coming out of Sharon's mouth that it is heavy-handed. She's a stickler for the rules, and so in a script writing sense, in terms of her character, I think it's absolutely fine. If it was coming out of someone else's mouth, then yeah, it might cause offence. Also, Melburnians, I think Melburnians as a collective know that we've got to do this once and we've got to do it right. And so any form of communication that helps us behave accordingly, because it is all about behaviour, I think in the end we're going to endorse. It's true, this ad did get a bit of flack. That's absolutely true. But I think it's important to think about the sort of COVID communications almost like a jigsaw puzzle. And so not every single piece of advertising is going to be appreciated by everyone, but it will just be a piece in the puzzle to get the total message out. So, yeah.
And it was also strategically smart, I think, from the government, who were copping flack about the lockdown. And obviously they're saying, you know, we're not the enemy, COVID's the reason for it. And I think that was clever as well.
And getting everyone on board in Melbourne is an incredibly difficult communication task. There are 5 million people in this city. This is not a small city. So, and then in some suburbs in the north, northwest, and the sort of the southeast, deep and southeast, you've got large families, and 40% of the families in those suburbs, English is their second language.
I think that also highlights how marketers are so behind the eight ball. Like that, it should be how we should always be communicating, understanding that we have really fragmented audiences. That's part of diversity in Australia.
Advertising for the government is like Hurt Locker. It's like a bomb that everyone's too scared to touch and dial, and it's the most conservative type of advertising because they're just scared.
We got a real insight into both Russell and Todd. You know, Russell's clearly been doing a lot of jigsaw puzzles and Todd's been diffusing bombs. And I think that is about what most of us would expect. The Victorian government released a set of ads with testimonials from real survivors, like this one, starring healthcare workers Sam and Sarah.
Dealing with COVID has been nothing like I've ever experienced before. It started off generally with the flu-like symptoms. I was almost debilitated with chest pain as well. The lining of my lungs became inflamed to the point where I wasn't able to fully inflate my lungs or exhale without excruciating pain. It feels like coronavirus has attacked every single one of my body systems. 4 weeks into my journey with COVID, I still feel like I'm incapacitated and can't care for myself. I have 2 little boys and I decided to isolate away from them. They're with their dad half the time and they're with my parents. Being separated from them for 5 or 6 weeks now has been incredibly hard. It's absolutely heart-wrenching hearing them say, "Mummy, why are people doing the wrong things? Mummy, why isn't the coronavirus going away?" If you're thinking about bending the rules, think about who you love most in this world and think about them in ICU.
That last bit floored me. Karen, when someone's fighting for their life, is there a risk putting them in your ad?
I wouldn't say it's a risk. It's something that when you do use real people in a really serious public message like this and their health is in, a serious way, we have a duty of care to speak to them and their family and sometimes their next of kin to make them aware of the ramifications of being in an ad and also what might happen in the future when the situation changes.
Yeah.
I think this was actually, for me, the best ad that I saw in COVID and one of the smartest as well. And when you're doing a campaign, what you do when you're sort of literally writing the brief is you work out what are the barriers to getting people to change their behaviour. And we know for this age group, the barrier was thinking, even if I get COVID, I'm going to be fine. So this just, wham, hits that sort of straight in the middle, and I think it's an incredibly powerful ad.
As new cases appeared, so did an outbreak of new slogans. There was staying apart keeps us together, stop the spread, it's up to each of us to protect all of us, and can be strong together. The networks got involved too. 7 said, we're all in this hashtag together. 10 said, we're all hashtag in this together. And Channel 9 said, hashtag slow the spread, hashtag keep your distance, and things just got real, hashtag COVID-19. That hashtag's going viral. But none were as bad as the UK's government's Eat Out to Help Out campaign, which caused a spike in cases. Should have gone with shut your mouth.
Yeah.
Like, I think half of those messages were fluff, like, things just got real. Things were always real. Like, when did they release that down the line? Like, oh, shit, things just got real. Like,
Some states are returning to normal life and the advertising reflects this. WA released this awkward behaviour guide.
Amazing to see you, man. What? Are we shaking hands now?
If you all behave yourself, you too could attend a shit barbecue. While South Australia has gone with this.
It's in our streets, our shops, our workplaces. You might have seen it. Worse, you might even have it. It's complacency. And right now, it's our greatest threat. Restrictions have eased, but there's no room for complacency. Continue to keep your distance, wash your hands and get tested. And together, we'll keep stopping the spread. Visit stopthespread.sa.gov.au.
Oh my God, complacency's our biggest threat? Wait, let me check the news.
People are saving a fortune on their blinds.
OK, I'm reassured. It's easy to feel complacent. At this point, watching all the coronavirus ads feels a bit like this.
Blah, 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 blah.
Blah, 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 blah.
Which is why we love this campaign from the President of Liberia, George Weah, who spread his message through song.
Let's stand together to fight this deadly disease now. From Asia to Europe, and Europe to America, America to Africa. Take precaution. Be safe. It could be a mama, a brother, sister, a father. Let's stand together, Mama Liberia. God bless Mama Liberia.
I honestly recommend you check out that entire video. Mate, it is just like the virus, far too catchy. Let's move from people trying not to go viral to people trying desperately to go viral. TikTok. It's one of the world's fastest growing social media platforms and has gained more than 2.5 million Australian users since it launched here last year. So what is TikTok? It's an app made to share short videos, watch videos, and hope it won't end up destroying democracy. But not everyone loves it. TikTok is a Chinese company with a raft of security issues. Donald Trump hates it, and I think the feeling is mutual. And it's banned in India. In a total coincidence, TikTok Australia took out these newspaper ads and a few weeks ago launched this TV ad.
Got a lot of love, I can use a ton, yeah. Stressful, you know the drill. Getting cold, you got shoes to fill. Lately, don't know how to feel, don't know what's fake or real. So I hey, baby, we're never gonna stop the rain.
I guess I'm coming too, cause if you're preaching love and unity, I'm coming through. And if that cool with you?
Man, I got no issue, just know that I'm with you.
I'm with you, I'm with you, I'm with you.
That was like someone asked a panic attack to make an ad. When it started, I wasn't sure I understood TikTok, but now I'm certain I don't. Karen, what the fick-fock is going on?
There's a lot going on, and that's kind of the point. That's what TikTok is like. And I think this ad is designed to appeal to its target audience of young people, but also, I think, to make Australians who don't know much about it feel, I guess, aware of it and legitimise it as a platform. You know, I get it's really confusing, but for the demographic who are, you know, the majority of users are under the age of 25, they get the ad. You know, this is the same generation that grew up on YouTube and don't follow information that has a traditional narrative structure. So to them, it's quite clear. And what it is that it is just this bombastic, you know, world of information and videos that you can watch. So it goes against Instagram's sort of scrolling sameness, where the only way that you can convey your identity as a teenager is as a Kardashian clone.
TikTok is the Wild West for brands. You never know what's going to go viral next, even cranberry juice. A few weeks ago, a guy from Idaho called Nathan Apodaca filmed himself skateboarding down a highway drinking juice. That was imitated by a lot of people, including this guy.
We're
Yep, that's Mick Fleetwood. The song, Fleetwood Mac's Dreams, shot up the charts, as did Ocean Spray's stock price, whatever that means. And the skateboarder, he got a new ute from the brand. Todd, is this a better ad for Ocean Spray, TikTok or Fleetwood Mac?
I absolutely love it. And I think it's great. It's a better ad. It's got something in it for everyone, but it's a better ad for TikTok. So this company, like all social media now, are turning to monetizing. How do you monetize that? So the thing to remember is the Chinese company or TikTok own all the content. So they own it all. Like everything you post, they own. So now people are going, well, how do we make money from that? So the influencers are trying to make money through endorsements and all the stuff that they do. But we have an indication of where this is going to go, because the company in China, the equivalent of TikTok, they have a 3-click system. So in that case, he would be skating down and he would have cranberry juice. They would 3-click on the image and they would be able to order cranberry juice.
Karen, Ocean Spray didn't come up with this campaign, right? It was just a viral moment that, captured people's imagination. But they're a company that suddenly has their product at the heart of something that is going viral around the world.
Yeah.
How do you handle that?
Look,
Did they handle it well?
I think they handled it well. The bad thing would be if traditional brands see themselves as the hero in the story and they think that they decide who is their consumer and how people use their product. And a traditional brand might have looked at this and been like, we don't want to be associated with the, until recently homeless stoner who is a person of colour, who is skateboarding illegally on a highway, drinking cranberry juice for breakfast. They'll be like, that's not our target market, we want nothing to do with him, we're going to shut it down. That would be a bad way to do it. What they've done is quite good because they've given him a truck. The story is that his truck actually broke down and he had 15 minutes to get to work. And that's why he had the skateboard and that's where it happened. So they actually gave him a truck to ensure that he could keep working.
But it's also slightly dark, isn't it? So completely ignored, off the radar until you get 100 million hits and then new truck.
Yeah. That story of you have to become viral to find a better way of life is screwed up.
And they have a brand team at TikTok. As soon as something goes viral like this, they do two things. They immediately go to cranberry juice and do a deal, and they go to the artist, musician, and they do a deal. So, because they own it all. That's the genius of it. So they go to these people and say, we can do a deal with you. We can do this advertising. We can do this for you online. And they can't take the video away from them.
I'm starting to worry that seeing Russell isn't in the studio, you're becoming Russell. I feel like the only thing that stopped you... You're talking about these things being genius. Yeah. You're super excited about it. What is going on?
Yeah, it's so dark.
And then good on Mick Fleetwood as well for jumping on board. This, of course, is a wonderful thing that old rockers do. They attach themselves to something young, and that enables them to reinvigorate themselves, reinvigorate their sales as well, which, of course, has also happened. And I can report that I've met Mick, Will. Kate and I had half an hour with him backstage when he was out in Melbourne last year. And what I can report is he loves brands and he loves advertising.
Oh no, I now like him slightly less.
I love that Russell said old rock stars like to attach themselves to something young for cachet. Normally it's a new wife. But sure, brands as well. Every brand's on the hunt for their own Nathan. Optus has a dance challenge. Always good to have something to do while waiting for your internet to load. But some brands seem scared of TikTok. Tic Tac don't have a TikTok. Tim Tam has no videos. And Telstra has a blank page, 12 followers, and a bio that says they believe in the power of technology. Their technology must be broken. Dee, can any brand do this, or are some too old?
No, any brand can do that. If you look at some of the most popular brands on TikTok, they're brands you would not think would be good on there, like the Washington Post and Crocs, and old brands like Levi's. The trick is to do it well. So if you think of Instagram like the finished product, if you like, perfectly photoshopped within an inch of its life, TikTok is the behind-the-scenes video. And it's the bit that's a bit rawer and a bit more fun. And as long as you are doing it right, it doesn't matter how old your brand is, but you've got to be prepared to have fun.
One of the challenges they have is a demographic challenge. It's quite young. It's 25 and below, more than half, 25 and below. I think the numbers really skew. I mean, I've got young teenage girls. It's really young. And it's hard to monetize from an e-commerce perspective with those kids. They just don't have access to the money. So they're going to skew it. They're eventually going to have to skew it somewhat older in order to take advantage of it. They're getting the full load hit at them.
The reason we made the rules in Australia about branded content for children was they worked out until kids are age, I think it's about 11, they can't differentiate between content and advertising, whereas in fact, and TikTok mashes them so entirely together, there's no way you could separate.
But I would argue that these are the same kids who watch unboxing videos on YouTube for 5 hours a day. And it's like, that is content, that's sponsored content.
Absolutely.
But, you know, that whole thing of the division between content and advertising, we threw that out ages ago.
Agree.
You know, TikTok isn't the first broadcast platform to allow these Instagram-sponsored posts. We have no regulation about how they see that. If your kid has pocket money and they can go out and they can choose between buying a Slurpee or a Coke, then they're already making discernible decisions.
Yeah, but Karen, we're talking about 10-year-olds.
Yeah, I've seen, like, you know, you give... I'm not sure, I don't have kids, but have you ever given your kid money to then go decide which ice cream they want to buy, what they want to buy from a store?
No, yeah, that's fine, but I think there needs to be a leverage at the lowest.
They're already bombarded with advertising. We just aren't being realistic about the fact that when they walk out, they see side of the road, they see it on the bus, they see it in the shopping centre, they see it with every single piece of packaging in a shop. They're always seeing advertising. We need to be better at educating them as to understand when they see an ad is an ad. And I think this age group get it. They're not naive.
And that's why we'll be launching Gruen Kids with child panellists, MasterChef style. It's going to be a real hit on the ABC. With so many brands scared to dip their toes into TikTok, we thought it was only right that the young and spry ABC lead the way with our very own campaign.
Got a lot of love, I can use a ton, yeah.
Stressful, you know the drill. Getting cold, you got shoes to fill. Lately, don't know how to feel. Don't know what's fake or real. So
Hey, baby, we're never gonna stop the rain.
I guess I'm coming too. Cause if you're preaching love and unity, I'm coming through.
Man, I got no issue. Just know that I'm with you.
I'm with you, I'm with you, I'm with you.
Thanks to our panel tonight, Russell, Karen, Dee and Todd. We did it. Tonight, we introduced you to the brave truth tellers at Burns for Blinds. Turns out they might be the most honest advertiser of all time.
Need new blinds for your home? If you answer no, ignore this message.
I won't, Burns for Blinds, because I love you. So we'll leave you tonight with some of our favourite moments from the wonderful world of Burns for Blinds. We'll see you next week.
Warning to all SA homeowners.
Do not buy any blinds. I repeat, do not buy any blinds until you see Burns for Blinds. Burns have burned the price book. Get the hottest price you've ever seen. But these prices are crazy. It's seriously crazy. My jaw dropped when I saw the prices. Phone now and get a jaw-dropping discount.